Welcome to the debate zone. Hey guys, how you doing? It's Jake. I'm here today bringing you another NFL video. I'm kind of running the whole NFL thing while the season's hot. Um, but I saw a video idea. I want to hop onto it. It's 2 weeks into the season. Let's get some drama. And that's going to be by the title that you clicked, the team that is most surprising that could win the Super Bowl. I'm going with an insane dark horse here. I'm going with something that is probably premature, probably just looking through, hype of the first two games. But I think a dark horse candidate to at least make the Super Bowl is the New Orleans Saints. And I can't believe I'm saying this as somebody who had them winning like 4 or 5. That's not true. Like 7, 8 games this year. I think Derek Carr is overrated, which is weird because you're asking me why do I pick them to win this or make the Super Bowl. I'm not. I'm just saying they have a chance to. And I changed up the video idea today. I've got some stats here. I want to show stats. I hope that'll help a little bit of people who hear things. I don't know if you guys are like me. When I hear a bunch of numbers, I kind of want to see them. I feel like it helps me. Um, so I have the game of against the Cowboys, and obviously, right here is the big one. Right, this is the yards, average almost 6. He had 3 touchdowns. He carried 20 times, 115 yards, ran all over them. But the thing that I think people are going unnoticed with, personally, is this. Derek Carr. Guys, he only threw 16 times. And I'm realizing, I thought that for them to be as good as um, a Super Bowl contender, they needed what Baker's doing in Tampa, which is just lighting it up, right? Like he threw for like 4 touchdowns and 300 yards. And because of that, I thought that they would need him to just explode. Derek Carr would just have to be sensational. And I'm realizing if he's just a game manager and they rely on this defense as well and run the ball with Kamara, then they really will go about as far as he can. The thing that I'm loving about this is the motion offense, right? It's just a fall of Shanahan, or not fall of Shanahan, but like anybody in Shanahan's system, right? McVay annihilated him. Now the Saints are putting on a show, but it's just there's something about Dallas and not being able to deal with the Shanahan system, right? 49ers own them. Matt LaFleur, sorry, Matt, I said Sean McVay, but Matt LaFleur system in Green Bay beats them, right? And so you look at the defense, right? So there's only 3 sacks, or 3 sacks, sorry, right? 2 tackles for losses. So nothing like you don't literally look at it and think like just unbelievably defense accomplishment, right? But it was really, um, it was really this offense that just took over. And Dallas is no joke. Beating Dallas is no joke, but annihilating Dallas is no joke either. You guys got to realize that at halftime, this game was 35-16. Right, the game was over at halftime, and that's not something that really occurs, especially in Jerry's world. Right, they went like 18, 16 games in a row winning at home, and now they've lost their last 2 home games, which is going to throw them off absolutely if you're Dallas. But the Saints have this motion offense. Everything's moving before the play starts. They're reading defenses well. It's complicated. It's decisive. You can't read it, and these defenses are getting lit up by this. And they're getting short yards from their defense, short fields. They don't have to go 90 yards every drive. And Derek Carr is doing just enough um, to win, right? He only needs to be a B plus, B minus quarterback, and it gives the Saints a chance at winning a lot of games this year. And as somebody who is down on them, I'm now looking at them, and that NFC South is looking wide open. I mean, don't get me started with Carolina, they're a dumpster fire. But the rest of the team is looking, or the other 3 teams are looking like they could do something. If Atlanta beats Philly today, Atlanta was my division winner. I'm regretting it now. But if they win, then they're 1-1. That's not out of there. Baker's obviously 2-0. Saints are 2-0, and all of a sudden, a division that I thought would be horrible are looking good. And I think the Saints are kind of going under everybody's radar, myself included, because sometimes when you get these new offenses, these new ideas, it can be a little difficult to really predict or understand. And because of that, you run into these situations where you have people playing down to you, and I think the Saints are extremely good at beating people who do that, right? Like Dallas walked in, sorry, also excuse the mess in my room, but Dallas walked in expecting to win today, right? They're like, oh, they beat the Giants, anybody can beat the Giants. Um, and that is true. The Giants are not a good football team, but the Saints are no joke. And they Dallas, right? Like again, we got to have a conversation about these. These are garbage yards, right? Like Dak threw a bunch of yards when they didn't matter, and then eventually they brought Cooper Rush in. Um, but if you even go back one more or two more, sorry, here, right? Like if you bring yourself to when they, oh sorry, not the Giants, Vikings beat the Giants, but when they destroyed Carolina, um, if we look at the box score here, right? Derek Carr only threw 23 times, right? He only threw 23 times. 200 yards, 8 times. He threw for 3 touchdowns, right? Again, Kamara, 5 average. If you're averaging 5 yards a run, you're going to win, right? You're going to win. And I think that's the part that is going almost unnoticed here is that we're just waiting. I feel like people are just waiting for them to collapse, right? Oh, Sean Payton's not there. They're not going to do it. It's only 2 games into the season. And like, while I don't want us to panic about Baltimore being 0-2, we also need to acknowledge that the NFL, one of the reasons why it's so great is because every game matters, because the season is so short. Right? Guys, we're already 1/8 done the season, right? We're like 12% done the season. Like, these games matter. And if the Saints can get to 4-1, 5-1, 6-2, 7-3, they're going to be a threat to win the division. And if they win the division, their first playoff match could be against the Rams, who I'm high on. But you'd be looking at like a Rams, a Cowboys, like a Packers, a Bears, something like that. A Vikings, they're looking good right now. I don't think they'll make the wild card, but still. And when you think of it like that, all of a sudden the Saints to win one playoff game isn't unbelievably far fetched. They just smacked the Cowboys away. They could beat them at home. And once you get a win under your belt, what if you get the 3rd seed, right? Okay, now you're versing the 2 seed. Maybe you can go into the Lions and do something, right? And you start to look at this team and realize that they have an identity. And that's more than a lot of teams right now. A lot of teams don't have an identity. They don't know what they're trying to do. They don't know how they're trying to win. They just have a talented roster and they're going with it. Right? And you look at the Saints and they know what they're doing. They're going to do motion pre-snap. They're going to do a lot of screens, a lot of sets. But they look comfortable after the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th drive when you're no longer scripted and you're reading the defense. They look comfortable. And that's something I only expected to see in the upper echelon quarterbacks / teams, right? Like the Kansas City Chiefs, even Philadelphia I expect to look comfortable just because of their offensive firepower. Detroit. And as long as Derek Carr is throwing at the percentages he is in the high 70s completion percentages, right, low 70s, then this team has a formula to win. Lean on your defense, take advantage of short fields when they come, right? Pound the ball, get the defense tired, and then Kamara is just running loose. And the more I look at the Saints, the more I like them to contest the Bucks for the division and Atlanta. And the more I would find myself less and less surprised to see them if they are in the final 4, even the final 2 teams in the NFC. So while people might say this is a clickbait title because I'm not picking them to make it out of the NFC, I actually picked the Rams, which is looking horrible. And I'd say as of right now, I think it's up in the air because Detroit lost, the 49ers lost, Cowboys lost. Right? Like if Philly win tomorrow, they're the best preseason 2-0 team. Right? Because the only other 2-0 teams are going to be the Bucks, the Vikings, the Saints in the division, right? And those aren't that great of a team. I think the Seahawks are 2-0, right? And you're looking at this, and it gets less and less far-fetched. And they're fun to watch. I'm enjoying watching the Saints play. And while I don't want to just look at the box score and tell you, pick them because of this, we also got to sit here and acknowledge they've scored 91 points and they've let in 29. 91 to 29. 62-point difference. Is my math right? 29. Yeah. 62 points difference in 2 games. This Eagles. So I just want to quickly go over their schedule before we continue. Before I end the video, I mean. Eagles. I think the Eagles have a shot to beat them, obviously. But I also think they have a shot to beat the Eagles. And it's at home. And if they beat the Eagles and go 3-0, look out. So now against these 3 teams, the Eagles, Falcons, Chiefs, they need to go 1-2. They need to win one. I feel like the Chiefs is almost an automatic loss. But they need to beat either the Eagles or the Falcons, and for them, preferably both. And if they walk out of this and they're 3-2, they go 3-2 into the Buccaneers. They beat the Buccaneers, they're 4-2 with a game with 2 division wins. If they beat the Falcons out of their game, they could go 4-2 with 3 division wins. Beat the Broncos, maybe lose to the Chargers, beat the Panthers again. Falcons could win. Browns look interesting. Rams, Giants again. Or not Giants again, Giants, Commanders. Like, if I'm looking at games where I'm just picking them to straight win, I take them for sure against the Broncos, Panthers, at home against the Falcons, at home against the Browns, at home against the Giants, at home against the Commanders, and probably the Raiders. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 were there automatically in my head 9 wins. They're already at 9 wins this season in my head. And then, maybe they lose one of those, so automatically 8. You don't think they can win 3 of the Eagles, Chiefs, Bucks games? Packers? This becomes a realistic 11-win team. And if they're 11 wins, they deserve the respect of possibly winning the championship. But let me know what you guys think. Sorry for that pause. Comment below who your sneaky team is to win the Super Bowl, make the Super Bowl. I know I've been doing a lot of NFL content, and I've been seeing a lot of Premier League and baseball responses on the shorts. So I'm going to make more of that content for sure for you guys on Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I love doing this. Please comment. Let's interact. I post 1 to 2 shorts every single day. I'm going to start streaming probably FIFA. So twitch.com/CraveProdigy. That's my gamer tag. I would love to have you guys in there. Thank you so much. It's always been a pleasure. YouTube. Until next time.